Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to Kitchen Table Meta. So today we have our Top 5 Tuesday video. In this week's Top 5 Tuesday video, we have something really cool, which is my top 5 picks for the best cards from the World Martial Arts Tournament set, which is the most recent set that was released for Dragon Ball Super. Now, keep in mind, this doesn't count any leader cards. This is just non-leader cards, which is really important because there are some great leader cards in this set, but we'll talk about that later in some future videos. But before we get started in the video, I do want to take a quick second and shout out an event that's coming up that I really want you guys to attend if possible, and that is the Pro Play Games Orlando Regional event. And that's coming up on October 27th, which is a really, really important regional to go to. First of all, it's the last regional on the East Coast for Pro Play Games, which is exciting, but more importantly on the 28th, so on Sunday. So the regional happens on Saturday on the 27th. On the 28th, Pro Play Games is doing their Super Series event. Now this is a 2K cash prize event. And I really want everybody who can to come to this event and really show their support to Pro Play Games for doing this. Now, the community has been expressing their concern. They really want cash tournaments. They've been begging tournament organizers to do so, and Pro Play Games listened and are doing this. So let's show them, this is something the community wants, and let's support them for doing, going above and beyond for the community. $2,000 in cash prizing is insane, and to date, that's the largest cash prizing event of any Dragon Ball Super event. So it's just super cool and very exciting. So I'm just wanting as many people to show up as we can because I just want it to be an awesome event, so we can continue to have those types of events in the future. All right, so let's get into the video. Let's talk about, again, our top 5 cards for the World Martial Arts Tournament. Now, this is really exciting. I can't wait to talk about it. So let's get right in to number 5.
Coming at you with number 5.
All right, at number 5, we have Heroic Duo Videl. Now, this card was actually a really tough choice, and in fact, there was a couple other cards that kept going into this number 5 slot. We had everything from Awakening Talent Pan here to Trading Blows Son Goku. Both those cards being fantastic cards, especially Awakening Talent Pan being great for the mono blue decks and giving them a way to awaken, which is something blue has never had access to before. The Kaba effect. Also Trading Blows Son Goku, which is the one-drop green Goku, was insane. I played against it a lot yesterday when I played with a friend, and that card just kept getting better and better every time I've seen it played. But at the end of the day, I decided to go with my gut instinct. Also, David Fujimaro, a guy from our team, also encouraged me to keep it the way I wanted as well, which was Videl at number 5. Now, this is important, and the reason why I have Videl here is because Videl is a card that can be played outside of the World Tournament archetype. So you don't have to have a World Tournament leader to play this card. This card does its effect, its counterattack effect, no matter what type of leader you're playing against. It's good in the Pan decks that people have been playing. It's great in the World Tournament decks. It's just a staple card, and it's one of those cards I think that will be around for a long time. Now, on top of that, it's also a counterplay card similar to Master Roshi, which isn't anything out of the ordinary. We've seen this before. What's really cool about this card is that it also has a way for it to get bigger, right? So it says, if Heroic Duo Son Gohan is in play in your battle area, this card gains plus 9,000 power, which isn't, huge. It's not, going from a 1,000 power to 10,000 power does have its uses. And this is something that I do want to bring up because I think this is something that a lot of people forget. And if you are playing that kind of archetype or you are playing that card in your deck, it is possible to get a little extra mileage out of this card. Now, on top of that, this card, when combined with the Announcer Leader, for example, allows you to draw a card on your opponent's turn, which is something people often overlook. And also, it's very good in the Hercule deck as well because you can play it on your opponent's turn, counter it, and then when they attack your leader, you can combo with this card and draw a card off of as well. So again, it's just great in the World Tournament leader decks, and it's also good outside of that. So for those reasons, I think it was a no-brainer with why Heroic Duo Videl takes the number 5 slot.
Let's take a look at number 4.
All right, at number 4, we have my boy, Announcer, Play-by-Play Pro. Now, this is another one-drop counter card, which may seem weird since we just had that with Videl, but this is one that is tied to a World Tournament leader. So for this effect to happen, for his leader, for his counter play ability to work, you have to have a World Tournament leader. Now, that is the big downside for this card, and honestly the reason why this card wasn't higher up on the list. But the reason why we have him where we have him is because of his auto ability. It says auto during your turn, when you play this card, if there are 2 or more World Tournament other than this card in play in your battle area, draw 2 cards. Now, this effect is insane, and honestly, it gives this card the ability to do stuff other than countering, which is really important with your counter cards. Now, in other card games like Magic, we see this a lot where counter cards are often rated by their ability to do something other than counter, right? Because sometimes counters are just dead in your hand. It happens a lot in other card games where maybe you're playing against another control deck, or you're playing against somebody who doesn't really want to counter. Maybe you have just a lot of other counter cards in your hand. You don't need 4 or 5 in your hand. And Announcer Play-by-Play Pro gives you the ability to play this card out and then draw 2 cards. Now, this effect actually isn't limited to having a World Tournament leader. So if you just want to run this just to draw 2 more cards, if you have maybe a World Tournament heavy deck, I find this very unlikely to happen. But in the decks like Hercule, the Green Goku, or Announcer, this card is insane, draws them so many cards, gives them a defensive ability, and allows them to dig further in the deck and find the key pieces they need for their win condition. It's just such a fantastic card. Every time I see it being played, it's just insane, whether it's being used defensively or to dig through the deck to find the cards they need to win the game. It's just always impressive, and that's the reason why Mr. Announcer Play-by-Play Pro is at the number 4 slot.
Moving on to number 3.
All right, guys, at number 3, we have our first 2-card combo, and that is Supreme Showdown Son Goku and Supreme Showdown Vegeta. Now, this 2-card combo is insane, and honestly, the win condition in a lot of the World Tournament leader decks. And it's really easy to see why once you take a look at these cards. Now, both Vegeta and Goku are 25k triple attackers, which is in itself insane for 5 cost. Now, they also, if both of them out on the field at the same time, which if you have a World Tournament leader is very, very likely, they also get plus 10,000 power, making them 35k triple strike attackers. Now, I want to take a quick second and talk about the interaction with these 2 cards, because it is something that players might have not looked into or not seen, so I want to cover it real quick. So the Vegeta auto says, when you play this card, if your leader card is World Tournament, you may choose one of your battle cards other than this card and place it in your drop area. If you do so, your opponent cannot activate blocker for the duration of your turn. Now, this is a really powerful ability. So when you play out this 5 cost Vegeta, you could choose any of your cards and KO it, and if you do, your opponent can't activate blocker. Now, that's really strong. Now, what's really cool about this card, though, is that once it does that, so once it chooses something, it KOs it, and your opponent can't block, it triggers Son Goku's ability, which says, when your battle cards are placed in the drop area with Supreme Showdown Vegeta's skill, and your leader card is World Tournament, activate this skill. If there are no Supreme Showdown Son Goku in your battle area, you may play this card from your hand. So you get to play the other one for free. So that means you're going to play 2 5-cost 25k attackers that give each other 10,000 power. So they move up to 35k with triple strike. And your opponent can't block. So the only way they can stop this is with negates, which is somewhat common, does happen a lot, but once we get down the list, you'll see why there's so much pressure you can put on your opponent in the early game now with a lot of the other World Tournament cards, that it puts your opponent in a situation where a lot of times they've used all their defensive options. So they're really relying on those blockers to keep them alive through the late game, and Vegeta turns those off, and then Goku comes in, and they both swing out for 35k triple, and it's just really hard to stop. I've seen countless amount of games being ended by these 2 cards, and it was very easy to put these cards on the 3rd slot. Now, the only reason why these cards aren't higher is, of course, they have to be used to get their effect with the World Tournament leaders, which keeps them a little limited. Also, they do cost 5, which is still pretty late in the game, and a lot of the times it turns this into kind of an all or nothing attack unless you wait until turn 6 or 7 to play it. And at that stage of the game, there's a lot of other cards that can end the game as well. So it makes these a little less powerful than it may originally appear. Now, something I do want to talk about is that the permanent ability on both of these cards are still active whether or not you have a World Tournament leader or not. So if you do manage to play both of these out, they will get their buff on any leader choice. So that's another reason why they're a little bit higher on the list. They do have some functionality outside of World Tournament leaders, similar to the Play-by-Play Pro Announcer. It's very unlikely we'll see them being played outside of those, but it's still something cool to talk about. So with all those reasons and many more, that is why Supreme Showdown Son Goku and Vegeta made it to the number 3 spots on the list.
Number 2 coming at ya.
All right, so at number 2, we have Awkward Situation Trunks an awkward situation Otokosuke. So if I mess that name up, I'm so sorry. I definitely try my best. So this is a really cool card combo that when I first got spoiled, I didn't think too much of it. It seemed okay. But the more and more I've played with it, the more I've seen it being played, the more I see just how powerful this combo is. Now, the one downside of this combo is you don't really get the full effect unless you're playing a World Tournament leader. But after this occurs results after the last couple regional events, it's really obvious that the World Tournament leaders are all very powerful. We're going to see a lot of them in the meta, so it's not really that big of a downside to have to use them with the World Tournament leaders. So start off with Trunks. Now he's a 15,000 attacker for 2. So it costs 2 blue, and 2, and he has the ability that says active main once per turn, choose one awkward situation Ototosuke in your battle area and place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. If your leader card is World Tournament, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So if you have Ototosuke in your battle area, you can use this ability, put it at the bottom of your deck, and then KO a card. Now, there's no restrictions to that KO. It's just a straight up KO, which in itself is very powerful. Now, what makes this combo, I'd say, a little bit stronger than what it might originally appear is with Awkward Situation Ototosuke. Now, what he says, he's a 4-cost 15k attacker that says if Awkward Situation Trunks is in play in your battle area and Awkward Situation Ototosuke is not, you can play this card from your hand without playing its energy cost. So for 2, you play out Trunks, and then you can play out Ototosuke for free, which is, again, very powerful. But what's insane is if you attack with Ototosuke, do 15,000 attack, and then take it, put it at the bottom of your deck, KO something, you can play another Ototosuke again, right? You can play it right back out because now there's no Ototosuke in your battle area. So you can keep chaining them together, which can really put a lot of pressure that early in the game on your opponent, which is really, really cool. So this combo has a lot of variety to it. You can just play it out and let it set there so you can kill something later if you're expecting something to come out on turn 3 or 4 or something that you're really worried about, or you can go all in. You can keep attacking with it, get rid of some of their blockers for your Oob and Goku attack, or even your Vegeta and Son Goku attacks. It's just really, really neat to have the versatility of this combo, and the fact that it can be used not only aggressively but defensively just puts this combo card combo on a different level, and it's the reason why I put it as my number 2 pick.
Finally, number 1.
All right, so at number 1, we have Test of Strength Son Goku and Test of Strength Oob. Now, for anyone that's been watching this this new meta at all, this should come to no surprise. Now, with the rise of the World Tournament leaders doing so well, these are the 2 cards that you see played in almost every list, and for good reason. These cards are insane. Now, what Test of Strength Son Goku does, it says when you play this card, if your leader card is World Tournament, you may choose one Test of Strength Oob from your hand and play it. If you do so, both that card and this card get 5,000 power for the duration of the turn, which is crazy. So for 3 energy, you play out a 15k Goku, you get a 15k critical Oob for free. They both get plus 5k, so they both go to 20k. So for 3 energy, you're getting 2 20k attackers, one with critical, one with double strike, which is just an insane energy investment. And then also the auto from Oob triggers, which says when you play this card, if Test of Strength Son Goku is in play in your battle area, choose up to 2 cards of your opponent's battle cards with 20,000 or less power and place them at the bottom of their owner's deck. So it also has a little bit of removals, which makes this card, this combo card, better off of 3. So if you play it on turn 5 or 6, a lot of times you can take away cards that cost way more than this. So you can usually get your opponent's 4 or 5 drops sometimes even, which is just crazy. Now, on top of that, these 2 cards obviously put a lot of pressure on your opponent. You got 2 20k attackers, one with critical and double. Plus, you have Announcer's ability to give them plus 5k, the Field card to give them another 5k. You also have Hercule's ability to combo with them very efficiently. You just have so many different ways to make these cards put on a lot of pressure. Now, one thing I do want to talk about really quick, and I see it happen a lot, is I see this card oftentimes being the reason why players win the match, but they don't necessarily win with this card. And what I mean by that is I've seen a lot of players play these cards out on turn 3 and apply so much pressure on their opponent that it puts their opponent behind for the rest of the game. So it takes a lot of cards out of their hand, or they take a lot of damage they couldn't stop. And while these cards might not swing in for the win, a lot of the times they do put their opponent in a situation where they can't come back from it. So I just want to, again, for those reasons, that's really why these cards are where they're at. They're just very, very powerful cards when used together. They're good at every stage of the game, and the only downside being you have to use them with a World Martial Arts Tournament leader. But if you couldn't, these three cards, or these two cards would be in almost every single deck. It's just insane. Now, there also is a 2 blue restriction in this card I want to talk a little bit about, which makes it a little bit harder to restrict than, a lot harder to cast some of the other cards. But what you'll see happen a lot is almost every one of these World Martial Arts Tournament will have mostly blue energy base, so they can cast this card. Plus, that gives them access to Whis Excursions and Sensu Beans and other powerful cards as well. So this card might look like a downside on this card, and it is. But a lot of decks are built with that in mind, so they can still cast these 2 cards out and apply a lot of pressure on their opponents. All right, guys, so that's our list for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Real quick before we go, though, I want to remind you guys that me and April will be opening our World Martial Arts Tournament box given it to us by PBG on Thursday. Originally, I said it was going to be Friday, but we're actually leaving to go home this weekend, so I actually forgot about that, so it won't be here Friday, so we'll do it on Thursday. I'll keep announcing it and keep advertising it, but please stop by, catch us live, watch us open it, and then I'll also have that box opening up on the channel on Friday, so I'll make sure it's posted up there so you guys can watch it if you can't watch us live. So, guys, thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the support. And like always, if you disagree with anything on the list, or if you think something should have been on the list that wasn't there, let me know in the comment section below. I love talking to you guys. I love hanging out with you guys. So it's always a pleasure to talk to you guys in the comments. Anyway, guys, we'll see you later. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.